What's up, everybody? This is MJ, and welcome to our Thursday training broadcast for the Black women out there who are dreaming of starting your boutique and your shop, and you are just having difficulties getting started. Today, we are going to be building on our last three trainings. So if you've been with us for the last couple of weeks, we've talked about a few topics that all are interconnected. Because what's true is that no matter how many of my training broadcasts that you listen to, invariably all of it comes together in a cohesive puzzle. You can't just take a little bit of what I'm saying and leave out the rest and think you're going to have a successful start if you don't have everything. It's like having a puzzle dumped out on a table and only taking 5 of the pieces of all 500 pieces and thinking you're going to put the puzzle together. And so today's training is going to build on what we've been talking about the last 2 weeks. And so you've already talked about that you need to break some damaging patterns that might be in your life, the behaviors, the mentalities that could be stopping you from having the success that you want in your boutique. Then we talked about the importance of laying a stable foundation and not just jumping out there without a net, without a plan, without a strategy, and just hoping that somehow things come together. And then in our last training, we talked about implementing the 4-part secret weapon, which I call the Shop Start formula, to help you start your business. But even with all of those tremendous tools and strategies, you're still not done. You're not all set. These are going to get you a big part of the way there, but this shift we're going to be talking about today, or this change or this strategy, is the key to sustaining your CEO life long term, assuming that your goal is to stay in business for longer than a few months. And here's what I know is true. If you're like most people, you decided to start your own boutique or your own shop, your own business because of one or more of the following. You're either disgusted with being overworked and or underpowered, and you want to be in charge, or you're frustrated with watching others that have less talent enjoying the lifestyle, freedom, and flexibility and income that you want for yourself and your family. And I'm not talking about hating or being jealous. It's just recognizing that you also want to live a certain way and seeing other people who don't have some of the talents you have in that same space and wanting to join them there. Or the third reason you probably want to start your business is that you are passionate about a hobby or some type of creative talent or product that you have, and you want to bring it to life on a larger scale. Regardless of the motivation that's leading you to want to own your own business, it takes more than just hating your job or wanting to, quote unquote, leave a legacy or having a cool idea or product to be able to be a successful business owner. And the truth is that not everybody is cut out for entrepreneurship, and what it takes to get you there is not necessarily what it's going to take to keep you there for the long haul. It's kind of like in relationships. You know how they say, hey guys and girls, whatever you do in the beginning of your relationship, you're going to have to stick to it all the way through. Here's what's true about building a business. It's a little bit different. What it takes to get you there might not be what you need to sustain you over the long haul. Leaving the predictability and familiarity of a job and then leaping over the cliff into operating your boutique full time will require you to upgrade yourself constantly over time. Evolving strategically, that's what we're talking about today, means that you're not only well prepared to make the big leap from employment to entrepreneurship, but you're also ready to adapt to the rigors of being the highest ranking person as your company expands. The world of entrepreneurship requires a completely different way of thinking and behaving than employment. And I learned that, I won't say I learned it the hard way, but I learned it quickly when I left corporate. I did not choose to leave corporate America at the time I did. I was laid off, but I saw it as a huge blessing from day one. But even though I was prepared for it, and even though I was ready for it, and even though I was glad about it, it was different. It is very different being the head honcho. It is very different dealing with the autonomy of self-employment, the hundreds or thousands of decisions you have to make every day, every week, every month, and not having a sounding board sometimes. The loneliness. I could talk for an hour about the loneliness of entrepreneurship, even while you're in control of your schedule, even while you are able to dictate how you move in the world. It can be very lonely. calling the shots all the time. It can be exhausting. It's a huge culture shock that can catch you off guard if you are not prepared for it. And unfortunately, most business planning focuses mostly on the company itself, as if somehow the company, the business is being built in a vacuum without any outside influences or factors relating to the person who's building it. And that is why many first timers get stuck after they use one of those worthless online business plan templates. I hate templates. I hate plug in the blank and you're done type of things, because nothing is one size fits all. But after you do one of those online business templates that barely covers the basics and you completely miss what I'm talking about altogether, entrepreneurs that are out there for the first time can get stuck. Remember, the whole point of becoming self-employed is to create a better lifestyle than you have right now, right? Not to buy a job that ends up owning you. If I said that once, I've said it 1,000 times, and I'm going to say it again today. You do not want to leave the comfort, the flexibility, the the familiarity of your job, where you know that no matter what you do or don't do, a check will come every 2 weeks. Even if you don't like everything about it, there's no reason to leave that only to end up with a business that is nothing more than a job that ends up owning you, right? Everybody who's working for themselves does not enjoy the truly flexible CEO lifestyle that's actually better than where they were before. Making this huge transition without missing a paycheck or jeopardizing your family won't happen by accident. It is so important for you to evolve strategically. And that means, amongst other things, rejecting the 16-hour CEO workday. The idea that you have to work twice as many hours in your business as you did before. I hear people say this all the time. I'm going to start my business. I'm going to have to work twice as many hours. I'm like, why would anybody want to do that? So that 20 years from now, it'll be easier, or 10 years from now, it'll be easier. Well, right now, you're already working your fingers to the bone, working for somebody else. Why take that on? And I know the rewards of working for yourself in many ways are better than what you get from a job. Obviously, that's why I love working for myself. However, I categorically reject the idea that I have to work twice as many hours and blood, sweat, and tears and have an even worse lifestyle now to get down the road and have a better lifestyle. The fact is, a lot of times that happens because people don't have a plan. They don't have a strategy, and they're making tons of mistakes that they could have avoided. They're spending a lot of time doing workarounds and duplicative work and redundancies and workarounds and all of this stuff, wasting time. And that's why they work so many hours, or they don't know how to delegate. And so they're doing all this stuff themselves because they're convinced that they have to do everything themselves, because that's what business owners do in the beginning, right? Wrong. That's what you do when you don't have a plan. That's what you do when you don't have enough capital. That's what you do when you don't know what you're doing. And that turns into a job that's where the 16-hour CEO workday comes in. Nobody wants that. And also, evolving strategically means replacing that hours for dollars philosophy with an effort for results mindset. And I've had to admit recently that it took me a long time to get out of that. I have to work this many hours in a day in order to get what I want in my business. And that's just not true. I've been programmed for 20 plus years to work 8 hours a day, or sometimes more than that. And many of you are in that situation as well. And that's just the way the workforce is set up. You have people work 8 hours a day because that's what you have them do. It doesn't matter if there's enough work. It doesn't matter if it's too much work. That's the work day. Or sometimes you might work a 10-hour or a 12-hour. The point is, they rank your value or rate your value and how much you're worth being paid based on how many hours you put in. But what I found to be true is that a business owner, one that's looking towards success in the right way, recognizes they're not trading hours for dollars. And so there's no reward for working 16 hours. You're rewarded as a CEO who lives the lifestyle that you deserve to live. You're rewarded for putting in effort and getting the results you want, no matter how little time it takes. But it took me a long time to not feel bad about not working 8 hours a day and making a lot of money for doing it. I felt like, this doesn't seem right. I haven't worked all day. Why am I making this money? But that's what evolving strategically as a CEO, as a self-employed person means for you. Rejecting that old way and thinking about it a new way. And it also means, when you evolve strategically, it also means shaping your business around your life instead of shape around your business. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back, especially those that might be rolling their eyes like, MJ, this is not the case. That's not what happens. When you start a boutique, it's going to take a lot of time. No, zip it. It doesn't have to be that way. You shape your business around the life that you want instead of the other way around. I remember there's a restaurant, well, they closed their doors, I think because of COVID, but there was a restaurant that had the fire seafood. For those of you who live in this area where I live, you remember Clarksville Seafood. And I used to be in amazement that for years, but they were open for, I guess 20 years. I don't know when they first opened. It might have been longer than that. But for the majority of the time that they were in business, they were only open 24 hours a week. Yes, I did say that, what I meant. 24 hours in a week. When you added up all the hours they were only open, I think, 5 days a week. They were either open 3 hours or 4 hours a day. And that was it. And invariably, whenever they were about to open, there would be a line outside and they would be jumping from the time they open to the time they close. And then that would be it. And I imagine that those short hours were probably based on maybe the owners, at least originally, the owner's availability. With those kind of hours, the owner could actually work there and be there the whole time their business was open. And then when they close, they'd be done and they would only work like a 40-hour work week. And I thought that's amazing that they're able to make the money they want to make with these weird hours. Now, eventually they did extend their hours to be open like a lot of other restaurants, and that might have been what killed them. I'm not sure. But the point is, they shaped their business around their life instead of shaping their life around their business. And you can do that with your boutique as well. That's part of being strategically. It's looking at your business different and not saying, well, every other store is open from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. What makes me think I don't have to be? Guess what? If you have what people want, they're going to come whenever you are open, and they will stand there and wait for you. They will come flying over there on a break. They will take off early from work. They will get somebody to come to you to get what you want or to get what you have. Now, a lot of you are opening online boutiques, and so hours and things of that nature may not be in your purview, but that principle applies across the board in your business. A lot of the things you may be thinking that have to be a certain way in your business don't have to be that way. And because you're thinking they have to be that way, you are creating resistance, and that could be what's keeping you stuck. You're thinking, I don't have all this time, or I don't have all this whatever to invest in my business, so it must not be for me right now, because you've decided that it's going to be more than you can handle. But you get to decide what your boutique looks like. You get to decide when it's open, what you do, what you sell, how much of it you sell, who you hire, who you fire. You get to decide that. But that's an evolution away from the employee mindset and into an entrepreneurship mindset that is so critical for making sure that you stay the course long term. Evolving strategically is also carefully crafting a big leap plan that includes the planning, know-how, and teamwork needed to avoid making unnecessary mistakes. What am I talking about when I say big leap plan? I'm talking about transitioning from working for somebody else to working for yourself. You can't just one day quit your job and hope for the best, unless you have some type of other plan or somebody else sustaining your lifestyle for you, maybe a spouse or a huge nest egg. But even with that, you need a strategy. You need a plan so that your is not jeopardized, so that your current life is not jeopardized. And evolving strategically is also not taking the same mentality and practices from the job world into CEO life, so you won't unwittingly create the same environment in your new company that you wanted to escape from. And I want to talk about that for just a second. So many people decide they want to start their business. Remember, we talked about the 3 reasons, that one of which probably brought you to wanting to start your boutique. They want to get away from a toxic culture, a negative culture, a depressing culture, an oppressive culture at the job. But you would be surprised how programmed, and you might not be surprised, how programmed you are about how things have business by that environment that you hate. And if you are not intentional about changing it up and deciding that your company, your business, your boutique, your shop will do things differently, whether it's while you're the only person working there or after you hire people, you will recreate the same thing that was done to you because that's all you know. You will hire the same way your former employer hired people. You will find yourself with similar policies, and it won't be something you consciously think of. You will be doing it on a subconscious level because that's all you know. When I decided to bring in team members in my business, I said, what were all the things I hated about? And I'll just use the hiring process as an example. What did I hate about the hiring process whenever you wanted a new job or wanted to move up in your company? And I thought about all of those things that would just that I hated about trying to get a new job. And then I turned all of that on its ear and I took all of those things out of the process. I took all of those things out. And so when I hired somebody, it was super easy. I got the perfect person twice for me because I did something different from what was done to me for 20 something years when I was trying to get jobs. That was part of evolving strategically, intentionally taking away or adopting new mentalities and new practices so that you don't recreate your former employer in your new business. Don't think it won't happen just because you don't like it. You have to do more than just dislike it. You have to intentionally say, that's what I don't want. What do I do want? That's part of evolving strategically. So overall, this idea of evolving strategically to stay the course, it means you're growing and learning and changing on a constant basis. You would hate to make all of the effort and sacrifices to start your business only to end up back in your cubicle because you couldn't cut it in the corner office. And that's the rest of the story. Just because you quit your job and start your boutique or start your boutique and then quit your job doesn't mean you're going to stay there if you don't have a strategy or plan for how you're going to grow and evolve over time. As your business scales and grows, you personally have to expand to meet the constantly shifting and increasing demands of CEO life. What it took to get you there will not keep you there. You have got to evolve strategically. And if what I have said has resonated, if you realize that part of your resistance to jumping out there and starting your boutique is because you don't know for a fact that you will cut it as a CEO, or you don't even know if you have what it takes to cut it to make the leap from employment to entrepreneurship, let alone to be able to stay in the entrepreneurship world long term. Because it's not just about your product. It's not just about your website. It's not just about your marketing. It's about so much more to stay the course. And if anything I have said resonates and you would like help with figuring out what you need to do to make sure that you are cut out for entrepreneurship and that you have what it takes to stay the course in the ways we have talked about today, then I invite you right now to reach out and book your free breakthrough interview with me at www.melaniehunter.com/chat. Fill out the application that pops up right after you book your call, and that's going to help you get the most value from our time together. melaniehunter.com/chat. What we're going to do when we talk, we're going to look at what's going on in your business, what's going on in your job, and where do you want to go as you shift into CEO life. Because it's about so much more than setting up a Shopify and hoping for the best. To be a 6 or 7 figure CEO, it's going to take more, and you're going to have to be willing to change and evolve over time. And you have to know what that looks like so that you can prepare and make those moves. So we're going to talk about what that roadmap is going to look like for you. If we're fit to work together, we're going to get you started that very day, moving towards your dream of being a self-employed CEO. But it starts with a decision. It just starts with you being decisive and making the move to book this call. It's not going to happen. Like I said, everything I talk about is cumulative. Everything I teach is important to the process of what you want to do. It's not just pick and choose what you want and leave the rest. If it were that easy, everybody's boutique and everybody's shop would be making 7 figures, but they're not because they're missing pieces. And this piece is the one that so many businesses are missing. They take a job mentality, job practices into their business, and it doesn't cut it, and they don't make it. And I don't want that to happen to you. So again, book your free breakthrough call right now. The address is below the screen right now, melaniehunter.com/chat. Let's just have a conversation. It's a free call, but it will be the best 45 minutes to an hour that you have ever spent working on your dream shop or boutique. It's been my pleasure sharing with you today on this topic. I'll be back next week with the 5th and final piece to this series that we're on. But until then, go out there, grab some spots on your calendar. I hope you have a great holiday weekend. We'll be closed Friday through Monday, but we'll be back Tuesday ready to take your calls and get you ready towards building your dream boutique. So we will talk soon. Take care. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.